on your site. I never condone rape, but if you're a size 6 and you're wearing skinny jeans, you kind of deserve to be raped.
Correct. I stand by that. I think it's a funny joke.
You think rape is funny?
No, I didn't say that. I think it's a funny joke.
Do you understand how offensive that is?
Yeah, let's like rape his mom, dude. That's a funny joke. Oh, shit. Let's all go like rape Dave Portnoy's mom. Funny. I wonder how often people should make that joke until he goes, oh, I get it now. Oh, I understand now. Those are the people that are laughing at him, just if anybody didn't know. Okay, here's a TikTok. Hold up. I didn't watch this before, by the way.
Here. I've noticed over the last 24 to 48 hours, I'm getting a million DMs from girls, and it's just their phone number. Nothing else. Like, what the fuck is going on? I thought it was spam. I thought there was a virus. To the point I started to ask, and yes, I get a million DMs. What are you going to do? All right, I'm a golden brown tan cookie. My eyes look like the sky over Waterfungelo, Bigelow, blah, blah, blah. Do it. Here's the thing. I thought it was spam. So it finds out there's a girl on TikTok, Jenna Ari, who's telling girls this is how you slide into a celeb's DMs. No, it's not. I haven't responded to one of these except to make sure I'm not getting attacked by a virus. You want to know how to slide into DM? I'll give you the truth right here from the horse's mouth. 3 things. Be very hot, don't be ugly, and say this. 2 words. I fuck. Guarantee you get a response. Class dismissed.
Okay. So that's like cool. That's like really edgy. I love his edgy humor, man. You know, like I fuck and be hot. Oh, shit. That's how you get in the DMs. Yeah. And so then there's like, 16 to 21-year-old guys that are watching the videos and they're like, yeah. And the reason why is basically when a guy hits puberty, he starts feeling sexual feelings. But at the same time, he's not an adult yet. So he like hasn't learned why. Like he hasn't really like fully learned morals yet. And it feels good to like, rage against adults and parents and all that stuff. And then you have this like really cool guy, Dave Portnoy, who says like, I fuck, say that. Bleh. And this is like, who does he think he's talking to? Does he think he's talking to like, when he's making videos, does he think he's marketing to like adults? He's marketing to college kids. He's like marketing to people under 21. Like, I don't know if he realizes that like he's a joke to everyone basically above 21 who isn't a frat boy. Anyway. So I want to get to this article that just happened. The title of by the way, the title of the article, I was literally screaming in pain. Young women say they met Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy for sex and it turned violent and humiliating. Oh my Lord. In the summer of 2020, Madison sent Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy a direct message on Instagram complimenting his famous One Bite Pizza reviews. So she DM'd him saying, sick pizza reviews. And he said, thanks, fly bitch. And I imagine that is like a 43-year-old man's way of being cool with young people. So she was a 20-year-old college student at the time. Portnoy, a 43-year-old multimillionaire. The conversation soon moved to Snapchat and text, where it quickly turned into the topic of sex. He sent her graphic videos of other women he'd slept with, according to Madison. And in messages reviewed by Insider, he pressed her to tell him about her sexual fantasies. I mean, actually, this one's kind of common, she wrote, like a rape fantasy, where I don't have any control of what's going on. He said, you and I are going to get along so well. But I will say, in order to do that, one, I have to be pretty comfortable with you. So I want you to, first of all, already notice what's going on. So he could have asked her, like, you know, what do you, like, let's say they were talking like sexual in the DMs. Say just like, oh, what do you like? Like, what do you like in bed? Or what's your favorite position? He said, what's your fantasy? Because he was hoping for something fucked up. And so what is somebody going to do if they're talking to a huge influencer that's super rich and famous and, you know, all the frat boys that they're friends with loves him? Well, she's going to go, okay, well, let me tell you, I guess, what my deep, dark secret is. He said, of course. And then he bought her a first-class plane ticket to visit him at his $2.2 million Nantucket home. The trip was a traumatic experience, Madison told Insider. She arrived at Portnoy's 4-bedroom home at 3 p.m., tired enough from her travels that she didn't mind when Portnoy told her that they would order pizza instead of going out. Still, she was kind of surprised to find him nothing like his charismatic online persona. He was very rude. He wasn't funny at all. He just reminded me of a boring, grumpy old man. I don't know when people think he's funny. Like, he's just grumpy. That, like, his whole persona is grumpy. He's like the non-charming Larry David. After dinner, they started kissing. Madison said she first became uncomfortable when Portnoy pulled out his phone and started filming without her, without asking permission, as she performed oral sex on him. I never said anything. I was scared. He was just so mean. He was just mean. Once again, this is like when there's guys that are into red pill insoles, and then also frat guys, they are not yet old enough to get actually attracted to women. So it's exciting to have all of these new things like sex, and then watching porn and seeing how that works. And then you're hanging with your boys all the time and you're talking about sex, and it just becomes a power thing to young men. So when young men hear this stuff, they get excited because they're not yet attracted to women. So I'm guessing Madison texted a friend 2 days after having sex with Portnoy. 43. I'm guessing she said his age. How many nights was it? 2. We had sex one time. Was it good? And it was so rough, I felt like I was being raped. He videotaped me and spit in my mouth and choked me so hard I couldn't breathe. And it hurt, and I was literally screaming in pain. Now, here's the interesting thing, right? The first thing that I imagine some people are going to think is, well, I mean, she said her sex fantasy is like rape, right? Rough sex, rape. And then she flies over to go have rough sex rape with him. And then she does. And then she's disappointed. And then you go, well, what's wrong with that? And what's wrong with that is when somebody, well, there's a lot wrong with it, but when there's a big difference between a fantasy and real life. And also, there's a big difference in a 20-year-old's understanding of like what in their head is like, oh, a rape fantasy. It's going to be something romantic still. It's still going to be something very safe. It's still going to be something with a ton of trust involved. It's still going to be role playing. When Dave Portnoy hears that, he goes, oh, I just get to act like I'm raping this woman. So there's a completely different dynamic, one. Number two, when she says, in order to do that, I have to be pretty comfortable with you. In Dave Portnoy's head, that's him just going, yeah. You already said that you want to have sex with me, so okay, yeah. But she really meant that. I have to be extremely comfortable with you. This has to be something that's super, super supportive between the two of us. There has to be. regardless of, what happened here, if two people are going to play out some sort of fantasy, especially something really, really racy, especially on the first time you're having sex, there has to be so much communication. In fact, I don't recommend anybody go for racy, crazy, rape fantasy sex the first time you hook up with somebody. It's just 100% not gonna go well. There's another story that's like really sad. Last July, a young woman, Allison, was at her family's home on Nantucket. She had just graduated from high school. According to several people on the island, Portnoy was a celebrity on Nantucket. Recent high school graduates from wealthy New England towns would try to land an invitation to Portnoy's house while summering on the island. The reputation on the island is he's a god and a king and kind of untouchable. Once again, this man is basically an incel that grew up, got rich, and then tried to live out his alpha dreams. So the sad part about it is basically this girl, Olivia, who recently graduated from college, told Insider that some of her friends were sending Portnoy direct messages attempting to get the mogul's attention, but he wasn't giving them the time of day. Then they realized that her 19-year-old sister, Allison, might be more his type. They said, "You should reach out to him. He likes younger girls," and he completely took the bait. He was much more interested in her than any of my 22-year-old friends. Allison sent Portnoy a message telling him she was on the island and would love to see him. He invited her over to his house, and he asked him whether she could come by with a couple friends. I see Caitlin says I wasn't being funny. Okay, good. I was wondering that. Okay. And then he goes, "While we fuck?" And he goes, "While we fuck? Seems pretty weird." Portnoy wrote in a message viewed by Insider. Allison responded, "Nah, they don't mind." So basically what happens is she didn't go over that one time because he said, "I'm not cool with your friends coming, sorry." About a week later, though, she messaged him again. This time, the two agreed to meet up in the afternoon. "I was definitely pushed by my friends." This is the scary thing. Her friends and sister tried to get her to go over and have sex with Dave Portnoy. So this is a 19-year-old girl that was peer pressured because it was like, oh my God, this is exciting. I'm going to be cool. I'm going to be the one that goes over Dave Portnoy's place. Allison recalled sitting by the pool. Portnoy offered her watermelon water. He asked her which school she went to and which grade she was in. Allison recalled then she said, he got up to go inside and I was like, "Okay, I'll go in with you." And he was like, "I didn't know it would be that easy." He leaned in and started kissing me. I didn't know what to do at that point. And when we went upstairs and he was really aggressive and I didn't know what to do and we had sex and that was it. And he kicked me out. Allison said her memories were fuzzy because of her emotional distress surrounding the event. But like Madison, she said Portnoy choked her. He kept spitting in my mouth, which was really gross. So again, this is the type of stuff where there's an understanding. For instance, if a woman during sex goes, "Spit in my mouth," but he just spit in her mouth. What the fuck, dude? I was kind of scared. I didn't want to disappoint him. And also, I think she didn't want to disappoint him, but I think what she also was feeling is she didn't want to disappoint her friends or her sister who were egging her on to go do this thing. A little over an hour later, Allison's friends picked her up. One of the young women who was in the car told Insider that Allison was uncharacteristically quiet. She was clearly almost in shock, she said. She basically couldn't talk the next day. And then she doesn't describe it as an assault, but deeply disturbed. I felt very preyed on. Soon after Allison's encounter with Portnoy, 2 photos, a selfie Allison had taken with Portnoy and a photo her friend took of her leaving the house, began to circulate the island. Both were posted on private Snapchats. Allison, who has depression, who had had depression, said she felt stressed and overwhelmed following her sexual encounter with Portnoy and the subsequent attention it got. I guess it was kind of my breaking point. 3 nights after having sex with Portnoy, Allison was suicidal and was hospitalized. While she was in the hospital, her mother began going through her phone trying to understand what had happened. After finding Portnoy's messages, Allison's mother called the Nantucket Police Department. She told the police, go put somebody outside his door because you're going to see every day there's some young girl being dropped off. Yeah, so he preys on young girls that are not that experienced with sex, that are very intimidated by this disgusting dude, because all of the frat boys around their in their social circles are like so gaga over him that they are like, wow, there's something about this guy. And then when they go and want to hook up with him, he's like the biggest fuckface in the entire world. And he thinks it's cool too. Like, sorry, I just heard something outside my window. That was really weird. Anyway, like he thinks he's cool saying like, oh, I'm a dirtbag and all that stuff. Like, this is not something that he is ashamed of. Like, he's proud of this. He likes being known as like a dirtbag. And once again, when you're in college and you see like a 43-year-old man doing this type of stuff with a lot of money, and he says really like cool alpha stuff, it's something that like you want to admire, you want to follow after, because you're not experienced with women. And so the whole idea of like having power over women is exciting to somebody that's young. Not to every man, obviously, but to the men that value dominance, being alpha, being like really tough and cool. Yeah. So basically, this is like a bunch of other incidents where this has happened, but it basically says that like he's cancelable and he just does this stuff all the time. He got real quick to make a response video. Real fucking quick.
Okay, so Business Insider finally published. The hit piece says it's been 8 months in the making on me. Not the normal hit piece, not the normal stuff about jokes we've made, videos we made, things we've done at Barstool. This is far more serious allegations, portraying me, painting me really as a sexual deviant. Serious shit. So lawyers have been talking to me, boards, you should say this, you shouldn't say this, you should do that. Listen, I've ignored everything.
Oh, he's just going to speak from the hip, man. I'm not going to say what everyone wants me to say. I'm going to say it like it is. This is my brand, man. I'm just going to say the truth. The truth is what matters.
I'm going to do what I always do. I'm just going to tell the truth. Shoot from the hip.
Exactly. Oh my God, he even said shoot from the hip.
No written statements.
Fucking
no
dork.
Pre-planned things. Just
Yo, by the way, like little things, like he's wearing a collared shirt. He's wearing like nerdy glasses. I love this.
And it's worked for me for 20 years, and I'm going to tell the truth. Let's start with the fact I'm not surprised this article came out. I didn't know what would be in it, but for 8 months, I've had every single girl that I've been remotely associated with, girls I know, girls I've hooked up with, girls I don't know, girls who've posted TikToks of me, being like, hey, just heads up, there's a reporter digging around, basically asking about your sexual habits, like has he done anything like dirty with you? Does he try to get you to do this? All like making it sound like the story was already written, like they're trying to portray you a certain way. I have tons of girls who have documented that that was their conversation with their reporter. Now, I still was like, as the months went by, maybe this will never come out, because I'm pretty confident in myself. I know I've never done anything weird with a girl, ever. Never anything remotely non-consensual. So I was hoping maybe...
Literally several people say that you spit in their mouths, dude. What's weird to you?
She just couldn't find it. Became obvious she was going to continue to dig and dig and dig, whether it took 4 months, 8 months, 8 years, to fulfill the narrative she had already decided upon before she even started this article. From day one, I don't know why she decided to do it. I know cancel culture has been coming for me for a decade. This is just the next iteration.
I love like cancel culture. When people mention cancel culture, it's so funny because it's like people on the right think that like left-wing media just likes cancel culture. Like we just enjoy it. Oh, we like just what they think is they like just like ruining people's lives for no reason. That's what they think. For money, media, or some I don't know why they think it's like something they like. It's something they have to do.
But she knew what she wanted to write, and she was going to find the narrative to fit it from day one. Most importantly, let's get into the two allegations that are jarring. And if I read them not knowing me, I'd be like, this guy belongs behind bars, basically. The first allegation basically is a girl who came to my house in Nantucket last July, like a year and a half ago, and is saying that we had sex. It was so rough. She was screaming, crying, pain, stop. She recalls. And then like 2 days later, reached out to her friend and said she felt like a sex doll during sex. Based on that description of the story, I would have absolutely zero idea who we're talking about. However, it said July, and there was a passage that said she slept on my couch after we hooked up. That part, the couch part, and knowing when it was, there's only one girl that I could ever recall who slept on the couch and not with me after we had talked for a month and a half online, and I liked her. I thought she was very attractive, pretty, stunning, engaging girl, so that's why she came. But I do remember one girl sleeping on the couch. So I went, looked at her past DMs, and that part, there's a part that says she reached out, hey, pizza man, and I responded, hey, fly bitch. I would have never recognized that, a hey, fly bitch. Like, I don't say that. She was wearing a hey, fly bitch shirt or a fly bitch shirt when she first DM'd me, and that's how I responded. Whatever. So that's how I was able to figure out who the girl was, the couch part of it. I can say this unequivocally. At no point, she came, she flew, we did have pizza, hung out, hooked up. At no point during it, at no point was it not 100% consensual. At no point did she ask me to stop. At no point did either of us think something unseemly happened. There was no weirdness after.
I don't think in the I don't think in the article she said anything about stopping. But I don't think that's the point here. I don't think. He said stop. He said stop running away from me. She didn't say stop, dude. You did.
100% consensual. My lawyer's like, don't make these blanket statements. I'm telling you now, her version of events is not true on our hookup. Just not true. Neither of us were like, oh, you shouldn't be doing it. It was 100 million % consensual. What's going on in her brain? I have no idea. Her actions, outward, all 100% normal. Wasn't alarmed, never thought about it. Now, after we hooked up, we were hanging out more, and it just became one of those situations where we disagreed basically on everything from, is it raining or sunny out? It was just oil and vinegar. Two people who did not get along, did not see the world the same way, and that is why she slept on the couch. I do believe, my recollection is she was still interested in hooking up, and I'm like, this just isn't working. Like, we don't get along. Flew back. I never talked to her again. I never knew she had any issue. It's the first I heard of it, and frankly, was stunned to read and hear about it. I am obviously not going to say her name. I don't want her harassed. If what she's telling that she didn't enjoy the experience is true, I had no idea, and that's horrible, and I never want to feel that way. But if there was a hidden camera in that room, and it wasn't a he said, she said, and someone saw the interaction, there would be absolutely nothing there. I promise you I've never lied. My lawyers have been like, don't even acknowledge that you know who this person is. Just anonymous is better because people can just throw it away. I don't do that.
Okay, whatever. Listen, he's wearing a nice collared shirt. He's got his nice glasses on. Barstool Sports owner stock plunges following violent sex allegations about President Dave Portnoy. there's a ton of money on the line for him. He's going to be losing a shitload of money for something like this. Of course he's going to say this shit. But regardless, here's the big lesson that everybody needs to understand here. Because one thing that I really think is important about my content and what I put out, it's not just for entertainment or reading the news or being something like just being a journalist or a commentator. Men, women, non-binary, everybody. The first time you have sex with somebody, don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything racy. Don't say you want to do anything racy. Everybody, don't do it. Have cute, nice, adorable sex. Tell the person that that's what you want if you're going to do it. Once things start getting too racy, barriers can get broken that you didn't think the other person had. Barriers could get broken that you didn't think you had. You might go into it going, wow, this fantasy sounds really good. But then, once it's happening, you go, wow, this fantasy doesn't feel that good anymore. Everybody, don't ever engage in racy, rough, crazy, fantasy, fetish sex on the first time. Before you really, really know somebody, before you have a really good relationship with them. Now, this isn't to say that these women, Madison or Allison, experienced what I'm talking about right here. For instance, Allison was peer pressured by her family and her friends to go be a doll for Dave Portnoy, for a predator. Those situations are by an actual predator that is literally just looking to have rough sex with every young woman he can, because he knows that they're inexperienced. He knows that they will do things that they are not used to, they're not ready for. So that's a different situation. However, once again, when you're hooking up with somebody for the first time, don't do rough stuff, because you don't know if you're ready for it, and you don't know if your partner's ready for it. You guys don't know each other enough to be able to do something like that.
Betas is a show about relationships made for the weirdos, introverts, and artists who love people, conversation, and learning to embrace who they are instead of molded to what the normies want from you.